All right, everybody, what's good? It is your man once again, James Johnson. That's the Sports Grind Done, as you all know me on Twitter at Sports Grind underscore Done is where you can follow me. And today I'm going to be doing another special video. As you've all probably heard me talk about this within the past months or so, as the Senior Bowl, which is basically an all-star game for the top seniors in college football that'll be heading into the draft. That's an all-star game that they go to, located in the city of Mobile, Alabama. Now it takes place at Lad Peoples Stadium. As you all know, that a recent bowl game was there. I think it was the GoDaddy Bowl was there 2 days ago or so with Arkansas State, and I think it might have been Toledo. But anyhow, that is the location that it takes place. And for sports journalists or people that's big into the draft process, that's pretty much something that is a big time gathering for those people where they all meet to talk to one another and evaluate the players there and get each other's thoughts and whatnot. It's a fun time, even though I haven't been to the actual week of practice. They have a week of practice before the actual game, which is on Saturday, but I've only been to the game itself, and that was last year, and I really enjoyed myself. I got to sit up in the press box and whatnot, and evaluate some players and get some thoughts from players and talk to them and whatnot. So it's a big deal in the draft community, so to speak. Now, this year my plan is to go to the weeks of practice and maybe the game, but the week of practice is where you could basically get all your content and you could speak to players and you could just pretty much get more stuff that we could put on Sports Grind Daily. Hopefully, Nick will be able to join me. We got to apply for credentials and all of that stuff and take care of hotel fees. And it's far from a cheap deal, but the people at the Senior Bowl do a good job of, making people welcome and taking care of credentials and whatnot. They have done a great job of that in the past. So, that said, today I'm going to be doing a video on the quarterbacks that have been invited so far, though they are going to invite more quarterbacks. I think they're at four right now. It's going to be three for each team. There's a North team and there's a South team. And, just based on where your team is located, that's where, in terms of geography, that's where they'll place you in terms of a team. So, and sometimes that some teams from the north have to end up playing for the south, and somebody from the south has to end up playing for the north. It's just all about numbers and whatnot. So before I get into that, the two coaching staffs that will be coaching the Senior Bowl, they always choose two NFL coaching staffs. Last year it was the Jags, and I forgot the other team. As you all know, we covered the Jags at SGD, so that's how I got my way in last year. Again, the Jags have been, they've gotten the opportunity to coach the Senior Bowl again, being that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers passed on it and they pranced all over it as they used their opportunity last year to really get to know the players and evaluate them and whatnot. And they'll be joined by the Tennessee Titans, who will coach the North staff. As you all know, the Jags and the Titans are two division rivals in the AFC. Probably two of the worst teams in the NFL, and that's the catch here. It's all about draft order of the teams they choose to coach the Senior Bowl. But as I was saying about the Jags, they're coaching the Senior Bowl again. Great opportunity for them. I don't know if you all really follow the Jags like that aside of Jags Twitter and Nick and whatnot, but a couple of the players they drafted were actually invites to the Senior Bowl. Aaron Colvin was one of them. As a matter of fact, at practice, Gus Bradley basically told Aaron Coleman that we're going to end up drafting you. We really like you. And lo and behold, Colvin ended up tearing his ACL at practice of the Senior Bowl. Talk about tough luck. And anyhow, as a result, his draft stock fell a little bit, and the Jags ended up getting him in the fourth round. And he ended up being a real good player when he did return from his ACL injury. So that said, they got him. They got Telvin Smith, another player that played a lot of snaps for the Jaguars, outside linebacker from Florida State. Who else? It was Brandon Linder. he pretty much got a Pro Bowl grade in terms of all the guards in the NFL, even as a rookie. This was a guy that wasn't like highly sought of in the Senior Bowl when I went last year from the University of Miami, but he was a guy that Jags drafted in the third round. They traded up for, if I'm not mistaken, and he ended up paying off as he's probably their best lineman as it is, and he's already playing at a Pro Bowl level, and this is a guy that was kind of overlooked. So you just to get a gist of how this process helps the coaching staff, there you have it. Multiple picks of the Jaguars were were from the Senior Bowl, or players that they had seen in the Senior Bowl, even some of their undrafted free agents, if I'm not mistaken. So that said, I'm going to be looking at the list of quarterbacks today as I kind of digress from my point that have been invited to the Senior Bowls. Once again, as I said, the catch is that they have to be seniors, but not necessarily have to be seniors. But most of the players in this game are seniors. I know last year, I think they introduced their first non-senior player into the game. I forgot his name, but they are looking into bringing more underclassmen, so to speak, into the Senior Bowl. So the first quarterback that I looked at in terms of that's going to the Senior Bowl is Shane Carden. As we all know, that is the quarterback from East Carolina. That everybody probably know that school for Chris Johnson. They played some great ball this year. Great ball, air raid type of offense, fast-paced type of offense, and impressive none the least. And I believe they were ranked most of the year, or a majority of the year, in terms of BCS rankings. So that said, now this is guy. When he does throw deep, I did like his deep ball accuracy and his placement. So that was one thing that I took away from watching him. He has great mobility. Can't forget that, to get outside the pocket and extend plays, kind of Ben Roethlisberger-like in that aspect of his game. Not saying he's a Ben Roethlisberger clone and whatnot, but just from that aspect of his game, he's kind of like Ben Roethlisberger. He hits his wide receivers in stride. A lot of his passes were short crossing routes, but when he did hit his receivers, he hit them where they could continue to run. And I know you all know Hardy, the first-round pick wide receiver that also plays for ECU, and it looks like he'll be in the Senior Bowl as well. That was one of his favorite targets. And, Carton really helped him out with running after the catch and putting the ball where it needed to be, to where he didn't have to stop to catch the ball. He could stop. He could catch the ball and keep running. Also, I already said that his short placement, his short ball placement was pretty good. And, as I said, just a overall athlete. But he's a limited scheme guy. This isn't a guy that, is going to fit a lot of NFL schemes, and not a guy that's necessarily, I wouldn't say he's not highly regarded, but I've seen on sites they've graded him from, a third to fifth round pick. And, when this process is over, it might be even lower than that. This process could also help him to up his stock. So we'll see, as that'll be a trend for a lot of players entering this game. And I think he could use a little bit of better eye manipulation, looking off people at times. Footwork needs polishing, and generally you get that with, quarterbacks that are in these air raid offenses where they're in shotgun a lot. So this is not like a typical NFL type of scheme. So, the footwork issues come with that generally. And he has issues filling the rush, in my opinion. And, he has a long, kind of funny release that he could work on mechanically. So, that said, Shane Carden is a guy that I'll certainly be interested in seeing how he does under NFL coaching and whatnot. I would assume they probably, it just depends on the other quarterbacks that get invites, but I would assume they'll probably put him on the North squad, so he'll get to work closely with Coach Ken Whisenhunt, as that is the coach of the Tennessee Titans. Next up, I'm kind of shortening this up, and I don't want to go through my whole list as I just did with Grayson in terms of flaws and pros and cons. So I'm kind of shortening this up. But Garrett Grayson from Colorado State got coached under Coach McElwain. As we all know, he took the job at Florida. 6'2", 220 pounds. So he does have some decent size. Not exactly the prototypical height that you want in an NFL quarterback prospect, but nonetheless, He is, he does has decent height. He's not short by any means, and like I say, the size is there. I watched him versus San Jose, and a couple things, like I said, I'm gonna shorten this that I took from that game. It's he threw some ill-advised throws, and from what I read, that's been an issue with him throughout college football. And this is he is a guy that I feel like needs to better decide which throws can be squeezed into holes in coverage and which ones can't, as he relies on his arm a lot to kind of squeeze balls into places that they shouldn't have been thrown to. He also could work on eye manipulation, as I mentioned with Carden. And he'll get a chance with NFL coaches in the Senior Bowl to, they'll advise him on that and help him out on that. He hits short routes in stride just like Carden. This is a guy that, as you're going to see as I go through this list, he's a lot like Carden in terms of size, too. Carden's 6'2", roughly 220 as well. So, and a lot of things on the field they do similarly. Pretty much, that was what I took from him. He showed great timing at times. I watched the Wyoming game, so he showed great timing in that game particularly. And his footwork is okay. For somebody that takes snaps from shotgun a lot, his footwork is better than expected, and that might goes to what Coach McElwain was coaching him over there in Colorado State. So he is good from that aspect of his game. And next up, we got Bryce Petty, very popular player, as you all know, from Baylor University up in Texas, coach under Coach Briles and whatnot. So they sling the ball around a lot there. He's 6'2", 6'3", maybe 229 pounds, a little bit heavier than Carden and Grayson. This is a guy that we've seen all the highlights of Baylor and what they like to do. So that he's in shotgun a lot. He's slung the ball around a lot. Now, for me, one of the things that I did notice is that he was really inaccurate in the beginning of the Oklahoma game. And this was from 2013. I don't really watch a lot of games from the previous year. I like to watch the updated games of the year that they just played. But I accidentally clicked on the Oklahoma link thinking it was from 2014. And I got halfway through it before I realized, it was from 2013. But that said, I kept watching it anyway because I was halfway through it. So, he proved to be very mobile. Got to give that to him for a guy that's 230 pounds. That's a good perk to have. And he started to come on into the second half of that game. And one of the reasons he's widely inaccurate is because he likes to throw a lot of all-arm throws. And if you would excuse me, I'm going to go get my charger for this video cuts off real quick. All right, so battery life was getting a little low there. Had to hurry up and get my charger for this video cut off, and I would have had to start from scratch. But anyhow, this is a guy that I was saying in Bryce Petty that, to come from Coach Art Briles and whatnot, his mechanics are a little bit flawed, as he's one of those guys who try to throw with his upper body a lot. And I think Blaine Gabbert, if you will, when he was coming from Missouri with Coach, I forget his coach name up there in Missouri. But yeah, that was one of the flaws that Blaine Gabbert had coming out of Missouri. And if anybody knows Blaine Gabbert, it should be me as a Jacksonville Jaguars fan. Didn't quite pan out as we wanted him to. And one of the reasons he was very inaccurate is because he used his arm a lot. And, it was a similar offense to what Coach Art Briles is coaching down there in Baylor, where it's, you're in shotgun, it's turn, rock, and throw type of deal, like Mike Mayock puts it. And a lot of times, in those type of offenses, you don't get the proper mechanics because quarterbacks don't transfer their weight from their upper body to their foot, so to speak, as you should as a quarterback. Kind of like stepping off of a mound in terms of baseball and pitching and whatnot. It's kind of a similar process there. But in this offense, what you get a lot is that a lot of the quarterbacks use all of their upper body and all of their arm into their throws, and it affects their accuracy. And that's the case with Bryce Petty. But once again, like I say, he'll get some NFL coaching at the Senior Bowl, and they can help him out with that. What else to see here? As I said, he proved to be mobile. Was I inaccurate? And pretty much that's what I took from him. So he's gonna have a lot of mechanical flaws that needs to get cleaned up, and it'll be interesting to see how he does taking snaps under center, as he hasn't really done that, just as Shane Carton has. And the other quarterback that I mentioned, his mind is he slipped my mind already. Garrett Grayson, out of Colorado State. So that said, that's my rundown on the quarterbacks heading into the Senior Bowl. I'm going to be doing more videos throughout the process. And also when the other invitees accept their invitation in terms of quarterbacks and other prospects, I might do a video to, add my take on them in, or maybe, do a little article to, get my takes on them as well. So I'm going to look at the other positions. This is going to be a process that I'm going to post the videos as I go with them. Next, I'm going to probably take a look at running backs. Then I'll go to the offensive line, maybe do tight ends, and then receivers. Then after that, I'll switch up the defense and go to those position by position as we head into the Senior Bowl process, which, like I say, hopefully me and Nick will be able to go be in attendance in and give you these videos before we go there. So that said, everybody, you all know the site once again, www.sportsgrinddaily.com. I am the Sports Grind Don. That's at sportsgrind__ done. And feel free to look up all our content that I've mentioned in my other videos, my wildcard videos that y'all saw earlier this week from our other podcasters, the OTR podcast, and Flying Brian's MMA opinions and news. So that said, you all have a good day, and I'll see you later.